Okay, we're gonna get into this abbreviated live, kind of in a rapid fashion, because as you can tell, it's been all over the news today. Clearly, the Brittney Griner situation is being covered on virtually all of the mainstream news media outlets, and it's certainly being covered all over social media. I've been involved in lives. I've seen no shortage of live streams, Facebook posts, Instagram messages, all taking either a side in favor of Brittney Griner's being released or against Brittney Griner's release and against the Biden administration. So I'm going to be asking a simple question to folks that are tuned in, and I appreciate you guys joining the program. Did Biden make the right move? It is that simple. That is the simple topic of today. Did President Biden make the right decision in bringing Brittney Griner home? Obviously, she is a full-blooded American citizen just like you and I, which would quickly lead to the question, why would anyone ask if it is the right move to bring home an American? But I'm asking you guys that are tuned in, and the box is open. I'll go straight to the box. I see a hell of a lot of yeses. I see some hell no's in the comments. Make no mistake about it, this is a MAGA-friendly program. Let my name deter you not. Doesn't matter what your take is on the subject. I'll put you in the box, give you plenty of time to state your point without any fear of censorship, banning, or blocking. First Amendment rights are paramount here. So, going to the box. Zachary 197. Good afternoon, Zachary. Do you believe President Biden made the right decision yesterday?
So I'm gonna say first, how you doing today?
Very well.
Good. I'm gonna say no, he didn't. I'm gonna say that I feel like this was a bad decision. If he traded for that one man for all Americans in the prison, then I'd sit there and say, it's a lot better, but still, how are we gonna fund Ukraine billions and billions of dollars to help them with a war that against Russia? Not only that, but now we're helping them out to only give Russia a key tool that is known as the Merchant of Death, that wants to kill Americans, and I'm sure he's all for killing Ukrainians and helping out with that cause. So why are we going to help Russia?
Here's the issue I have, and I get your point. Certainly, this guy known as the Merchant of Death selling arms and things like that. However, the man has been off the street for 13 years. Are we 100% certain he is still the exact same man he was in 2011 as he is in 2022? Are we certain that this is the same guy we're letting out that we put in?
See, now I see your point there, but I guess that's all assumptions. Either side can assume, that's just assuming at that point, whether he is or he's not. He could be, a religious man now, and he doesn't want nothing to do with none of that. Or he could be, well, these people, kept me in prison for this long. I'm gonna now I'm really gonna come at them. So it could go either way,
Yeah, because we let out convicts in this country that have done long stenches in prison, and many of them make it clear, I don't want to risk going back. This guy would know if he is recaptured, reincarcerated, he's never getting out of prison again for the rest of his life. He would have to know that.
Oh, yes, 100%, yes.
Yeah. So why assume he's going to automatically go back to that life?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but you think Russia's going to pass him up to have us to come right back to us, or you think Putin's going to put him in prison?
No, I don't think Putin would put him in prison. I think Putin would let him out the game. He's done what he has done, work for his country. You served a 13-year prison sentence. You paid your dues to the country. When he was locked up 13 years ago, 2011 or whatever it was, think about what technology was back then. Would he even be the
Yeah,
right guy to put back in the game? He's so far behind on technology and things like that. Why, if you're going to go back to dealing weapons and things like that, why would you use him at that point? He's outdated.
yeah, yep. Um, so how do you feel about the whole situation? Do you feel like Biden made a good decision?
That's a great question. As opposed to, I can't. You got a loud background there.
Go ahead.
Are you
Sorry.
sound like you taming rattlesnakes over there?
No. I'm jacking up a truck. I'm working right now.
Okay, all right. Okay, but that ratchet is so loud I could barely. Okay, but in regards to did Biden make a good decision? I can't necessarily say if it's a good decision because there were military veterans left behind. However, if I was in that exact same scenario, I would have made that same decision. And I'll give you my take and you can let me know where I may be getting it wrong. As a liberal president, you have not only is the woman African American, she's a member of the LGBT community. If he had done what a lot of right wingers are suggesting, leave Brittney Griner behind and fight for the veterans, you think the Republicans would have given him credit for that? You think he would have been on Fox News and Hannity would have been celebrating the fact that Biden made the right decision? You think anybody on the right would have given him credit for that?
God no.
Right. And you would have the LGBT community and black folks suggesting that he had a chance to bring home one of us and he chose not to do it. And
Yeah.
now that's a community that actually will show up and vote for him in 2024. So I don't think it would have been in his best interest to leave Brittney Griner behind and try to fight for the veterans. So if I was in that, just go ahead.
He's looking out for his best interest is what he's doing.
Yeah. Which all politicians are going to do that. I mean, there is a reason why President Trump doesn't all. When folks ask why hasn't President Trump condemned this guy or condemned that guy, he's doing what's in his political best interest, and
Yep.
that's what Biden is doing. Any advisor would advise a politician to do exactly what Biden did.
Yep. He's thinking about votes. That's all he's
Yeah,
thinking about.
yeah.
He's
I
thinking
mean,
about trying to keep Trump out is what he's trying to do.
right. So at the end, and Trump would have done the same thing too.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Trump would do what's in his political best interest as well. I don't think that's something that is unique to Biden.
Yeah, no. I feel like they really need to a lot of people are taking this to the racial area, and it's like we need to stop that. We really do. It's not about it. People are trapped in the past. I'm engaged to a beautiful black woman with two black kids. We can't we can't be trapped in the past no more. We need to move forward. It's or else we might as well just go back to the slavery days. It's pretty much what it is. It's almost
Yeah.
worse. It's almost
Well,
worse. It's just
let
as
me let me.
bad.
I'm gonna have to move it on, but let me run this by you, and you tell me what you think.
Go ahead.
I told you that Biden was the one that's racist. See, he had a chance to bring home a black girl, and he didn't even do that for you guys. How do you think that would have played if he had let Brittney Griner remain in Russia?
Probably bad.
Yeah, fair enough. I got to move it on, man. Appreciate you coming through.
No problem. You have a good day.
Absolutely. You too. You too. Looking in the comments, Trump would have been able to sway Putin into releasing the Marine as well. That makes no sense because these people were incarcerated while Trump was in office. If Trump had the power to do all of this with Putin, there is an obvious question that screams as loud as a jet engine. Why didn't he do it? All of these folks that we're accusing Biden of leaving behind were also incarcerated under the Trump administration. You think these folks just got incarcerated on Inauguration Day? All of these people, every one of them, were incarcerated throughout the entire Trump administration. I believe there was one veteran that got arrested in 2018, but the other guy has been there for years. So I don't think it makes any sense at all to suggest Trump some kind of way had magical powers and could have gotten these folks released. And by the way, when we're talking about political capital and doing what is politically expedient, Trump doesn't have to be president to reach out to Putin if you think he has those type of powers and get somebody released. I did a video personally, myself, on my damn channel, stating exactly that. I said that Trump had a favorable relationship with Putin the entire time he was in office. He has absolutely no ties to supporting the Ukrainians in the war against Russia. And it appears as if Trump's relationship with Putin still remains favorable to this day. I said that and then prefaced it by saying that Trump would be the perfect individual to negotiate Brittney Griner's release. I did a video on my channel like that several months ago. You know what, my beloved MAGA audience, my program is mostly MAGA. You know what they said? Leave her ass over there. She took a knee. She didn't stand for the anthem. I had MAGA suggesting that Brittney Griner deserved life in prison. So even if you believe that Trump could have negotiated the release of Brittney Griner, his followers, MAGA, wouldn't have tolerated it, which almost makes it certain that Trump would not have done it. I got overwhelming amounts of MAGA. Over the 9 months that she's been arrested, she's been held in custody. I've had nothing but MAGA folks coming on and saying, leave that broad over there. So, yeah, the chances of Trump negotiating her release would have been very low. Okay, looking in the box, it is 52 cents. Speaking of individuals that I talked to who wanted Brittney Griner left over and incarcerated. Good afternoon, 52. Welcome back.
Hello, young man.
Hey, what's up?
I'll tell you what, Brittney Griner checked all the boxes. She was a drug addict, she was gay, she was black, and she was a sports figure.
A drug addict? Are you not making a stretch there? A drug addict? What is that based on?
The fact that she got caught with drugs, that might be a hint.
Shit, Robert Downey Jr., Paris Hilton, Britney Spears, they all got caught with drugs. I don't mean they're a drug addict. Just simply
they
being
use them more than you and I do.
Okay, but when you said she checked all the boxes, she was black, she was gay, she was a drug addict, she was an athlete. Checked all the boxes for what?
For Biden sucking in some more votes.
Okay. What would you have done
if it was between a retired U.S. Marine and a WNBA player that nobody heard of until she got caught breaking the law? It would have been the Marine every time.
100% agree. Same here. If it was in between either or, what if you had absolutely no chance of bringing a Marine home, but they were willing to give you Brittney Griner? What would you do then?
I wouldn't have traded an international terrorist for her. That'd be like trading a Prius for a Bentley.
So you would have. So in other words, if you were president, Brittney Griner would still be in Russia.
She would rot.
Oh my God! And you think that would be good for a liberal politician come election time?
I think I'd have never mentioned her name again, and they'd have forgot about it.
You really think that with Brittney Griner being mentioned all over ESPN and WNBA and NBA games, you think they were going to forget about her?
Americans forgot about her.
No, I don't think Americans forgot about her. There's a certain segment of Americans that just didn't give a damn about her. But we
never heard about her until this. I never knew that woman was on the planet.
Well,
and yes, that was a Freudian slip on purpose.
I get it. But think about it, 52. You are a straight, white, Christian, right-wing male. You're not going to be paying attention to LGBT issues or WNBA issues. You haven't heard about it because you don't affiliate in those circles.
Nobody follows the WNBA. That's why they can't get paid like the men players that they keep complaining about.
I mean, fair enough. Nobody follows the WNBA, but she is an American citizen. You want to just let an American citizen rot in Russia for a trumped up charge?
It's not trumped up if she had dope on her.
Well, let me give you why I said it's trumped up. Are you aware that while she was incarcerated, after she got arrested, Russia deliberately changed their punishment for that crime? Before she got arrested, the maximum punishment for what she had on her, that amount of cannabis was 15 days imprisonment. They changed it while she was in custody to increase it to 9 years. You don't see that as trumped up?
The fact that she had an honor, she put herself in that position.
Yeah, but that
Nobody
doesn't mean.
put that in her pocket. Nobody said, Brittney, you need to travel with this. I'm sure everyone said the opposite.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean the charge. Just because she put herself in a bad position, that doesn't make it so that it can't be a trumped up charge. You don't see the 9 years on her as trumped up at all.
I personally don't care. Number one, I wouldn't go to Russia for anything. Number
Okay.
two, I wouldn't have drugs on me ever, ever. And number three, just the fact that she was over there, she sold out this country. She's a sellout.
How did she sell out America as a WNBA player? Keep in mind, her whole
She's
team.
over there playing. She's
So
got no business being in communist Russia at all.
So what about
None.
all the other Americans that were on her team at the time? You think they all sold the country out?
Absolutely. You got no
Oh,
business being in Russia. None.
okay,
Russia is our enemy.
fair enough. So how do you think the black community and the LGBT community would view a president that had your same mindset? Let her rot in prison. She sold us out. How do you think they would view that if a president had the same views as you?
They probably wouldn't be too happy, I
Yeah,
suppose.
yeah.
However, it's about country. It's about patriotism. It's about the world releasing a known arms dealer. Biden has put the world in jeopardy by his actions.
So just like I asked the previous caller, you feel 100% certain that after 13 years of incarceration, this guy is going to go right back to his old life.
Well, if he's not, he's sure got the buddies that he can help train in how he did what he did. Even if he doesn't do it, I'm sure he has the same associates. He knows the same people.
Well, to me, this would be very similar. You take someone like John McCain or somebody, and you say that after he's been a prisoner of war for 5 years or whatever the hell he was kept in, John McCain was kept in prison. That the minute we release him, he's going to go right back to doing exactly what he was doing. The possibility that his country might just retire this guy with honors or something like that never entered your mind, huh? He's going to go right back into his last known profession.
Well, if you were mistreated like our prisoners were, you couldn't physically do it. It isn't
Yeah.
about whether you would do it. You were so malnourished, so mistreated, you wouldn't have the physical strength to do it.
Right. Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. I got to move it on. 52. Always a pleasure.
Hey,
Good to
I
hear from you.
see they say I'm a white nationalist. What is that? Telling us not to invest or travel to other countries. We do not travel to a country that basically, if you look at history, Russia won World War II. It wasn't us. Russia was a powerful country. They aren't
I
so
don't.
much now, but they were then.
I
Russia
don't
is
buy
our
that.
sworn enemy. You do not
You,
support, you do not perform for a sworn enemy. This is the
okay.
United States. We don't deal with the fucking communists.
So, how do you feel about the Americans playing the Iranians in the World Cup last week? You think they also are sellouts? That's a sworn enemy. Iran is.
Are you talking about the ones with the rainbow decal on their workout clothes? Those ones? I
I'm
didn't
talking
give a
about.
shit. I
I'm
didn't give
asking
a
you.
shit about that team at all.
So, you believe that team was a sellout, then, right?
They're absolute sellouts.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Got to move it on, man.
Have
Appreciate
a
you
nice
coming through.
day.
You too. Always. 52. 52 never disappoints. So let me make it clear. The fact that I may disagree with the host never means a damn thing. I say it on every program. I'll give you plenty of time in the box to get your point across. You don't have to agree with yours truly. This is a MAGA-friendly program. Understand that. Real quick before I go back to the box, understand this guy, this bad guy, the merchant of death that we're discussing that was traded for Brittney Griner. His job was selling weapons and armaments to people we consider terrorists or enemies. Lots of countries that were involved in coups, starting civil wars, etc., etc. That's the bad guy. The issue I have, yours truly, you guys can tell me in the comments and I'll go right back to the box. The issue I personally believe when you look at Obama's Fast and Furious, when you look at Ronald Reagan's Iran-Contra scandal, you look at all of the shit we were doing in South America to, funded by the crack cocaine epidemic. The point I'm trying to make is we do all of the exact same things that the Merchant of Death does. We fund coups and military uprisings all the time. We are the world's largest exporter of firearms and military. Right now, look what's going on in the Ukraine versus Russia. You don't think that they see us as doing exactly that? The Ukrainians would be nowhere near as powerful as they are if it wasn't for the U.S. sending them arms. Same thing when Saddam Hussein supposedly rose up and killed his own people. It's because they were fighting with U.S. weapons. The Iran-Iraq war of the 1980s, we were funding both sides of that. So I'm not here to pretend like the Merchant of Death was a good guy. I'm just simply suggesting that the only reason we see him as a bad guy is because he was our competition. He does exactly what we did, just simply for the other side. When we see coups raising up against governments we don't like, I'm talking about Afghanistan, I'm talking about Iraq in the 1990s, I'm talking about the Arab Spring of a few years ago. We regularly weaponize coups and military uprisings. The United States does that constantly. That's what this guy was arrested for doing. He just happened to be one guy doing it for the opposing country. You don't think we have merchants of death as salesmen, Nicolas Cage, Lord of War style? You don't think Americans are doing that all over the world, on battlefields all over this world? We're doing the same shit that we believe that he's a bad guy for. Going back to the box. Dude, advice. Good afternoon, dude. Welcome back to the program.
How is the handsome liberal doing?
I'm hanging like a black man in a Klan meeting. What's up, man?
Hey, how are you?
Not doing good. So what do you think? Do you think Biden made the right move?
So first and foremost, I just want to say I'm actually thankful that we have an American back home. First and foremost, when we talk about the decision that he made, I don't think it was the right one, and I'll tell you why.
Sure.
I believe he should have had a stronger negotiation, a stronger stance on his negotiation, and brought them both home.
What if he felt certain from his advisors that they were not even trying to entertain a conversation about bringing home the veteran?
That's a scenario that me and you don't even know exists. We don't know
But what if that was the situation? What would you do under that scenario?
You gotta take what you can get, right? So you take the American. She's an American first and foremost. But that's a big if. We don't know that's a scenario we're talking about, but we don't know that that's the case. I guess what I'm trying to say is, when it comes to Brittney Griner, the reason the Biden administration went after her and brought her home specifically is because they're pandering. They do this all the time. This is what the liberal left does. They want to make feel-good stories for the Black Americans, African Americans in this country. They pick the Black lesbian that checks all the boxes. That's what the guy was saying before. I don't agree with his stance. Let anybody rot, first of all. Let me just clarify that. But we're American first and foremost. We all got to start to come together and realize that. Listen,
right.
What makes this country great is we can disagree. We don't have to hate each other. That's got to stop.
So let me ask you this, because this came. I'll let you continue, but I want to ask you this because this came straight out of the Shy Sox in the comments. Chicago Sox. I'm a Sox fan. 1919 in the comments.
Okay.
He stated, shocker. Politicians pander, because you were talking about it's just pandering. He said, shocker. A politician pandering. How do you respond to that?
That's all they ever do. And here's what I'll say. When was the last time you seen Biden do anything for the military and support them in any other way? So
Wait. The burn pits protection for veterans that have developed all kind of mental developed all sorts of illnesses from being around burn pits. He just did bipartisan legislation to help those people out not long ago.
So how come he's not fighting to get all the military men and women that were fired for not getting a vaccination? How come he's not bringing them back? He's not fighting for it. He's fighting against it. Well, if he really cares about military, then do the right thing. So I guess at the end of the day, let me just ask you one quick question.
Sure.
If there were two people in a room, one person is willing to literally die for you, a perfect stranger. And the Bible tells us that there is no greater love than a man lay his life down for a stranger. That's the Marine. And you got Brittney, who's taking a knee against the
knee is irrelevant. The knee is irrelevant. But I get your point.
She has disdain for America. So I guess what I'm saying is the liberals, the left, the Democrats, they went and saved their own. Same ideology. The Democrats hate this country. If we don't see that by now.
Well, the reason that you view the Democrats as hating this country is because when Trump says something like suspend the Constitution, you have a way to twist that to not mean hating this country. But Trump has done things that you could easily twist and suggest that this means you're hating the country as well. I mean, he's spoken negatively of shithole cities, Trump says things that are anti-American. Trump says things that are...
There are shithole cities. I think
that's the point. Hang on, let me respond to you. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that if a liberal says something that is anti-American, you hold them to account for it being anti-American. If Trump says something that's anti-American, somehow it's true, but it's still anti-American.
If there's a shithole city, we call it a shithole city. Is that anti-American, or is that saying, listen, let's make these cities better? I live outside Chicago. I don't want to go down to the city. I call it Shitcago, Shitcago. I don't want nothing to do with it. And it's sad because it wasn't always that way. So a lot of what Trump would say, and you know this is true, he would say the unadulterated truth. He would call for what it is. And that's why a lot of his followers, they like the no bullshit approach. He would call a shithole city a shithole city. He wasn't saying it in a fact that he hates the city, or as you would say, that's anti-American. No, he's calling the problematic areas problematic so that we can actually put focus on them and make them better. I mean, how many opportunity areas did Trump actually create? When was the last time you heard Democrats talking about it but then doing it? So I just feel like a lot of his truth and a lot of he was not PC. He wasn't a smooth talking salesman like Barack Obama was. Barack Obama will sell ice cubes to Eskimos. But he was brash, and I don't agree with his brashness. I think he could have toned down the rhetoric a little bit, and he would probably been more effective. But he was old school, and when I say old school, I don't mean racist. Don't get it confused. Old school by being able to just not be politically correct.
How do you feel that he has had dinner with someone like Nick Fuentes and never condemned a man?
So what I believe about that is he was going off of inviting a friend. He didn't invite Nick Fuentes. He invited Kanye West, and brought Nick Fuentes with him.
No condemnation over 2 weeks later. How do you explain that?
I don't believe he's given the media, and he hasn't made any tweets either, even though his Twitter account has been back up. So I believe that he's not giving the media any attention right now, so that they can, anything he says, they convolute his word.
Okay, let me respond to that. This is what I said earlier, where I think you hold liberals to account and you got ways of spinning Trump stuff to me. You had dinner with a white supremacist. This is not the time to go silent for a guy that's known for talking. That's not the time to do that after meeting with a guy that's a white supremacist. The thing also I wanted to say, when you pointed out the liberals are known for pandering, And I was going to ask you that if you thought that the liberals are the only ones that do that. And the reason why I'm asking you that is because I believe the reason Trump has not condemned Nick Fuentes is because he is pandering. He is pandering to a certain part of his base. That's
What
why he's not condemning the guy.
can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What part of his base do you think he's pandering to? And
The
before I say
far
that,
right. The far
so
right.
the
Nick
far
Fuentes
right,
is not a liberal.
I'll say this, and I know that this has been heightened, but when I grew up in the 80s and 90s. When I grew up in the city of Chicago, we were taught that we judge people on character, not skin color, for our whole entire life. Only I feel like in the last 10 years, 5, 10 years, have we all of a sudden seen race and conflict become so much more magnified than it ever was before. We have always,
I gotta,
we
I
had
gotta,
Michael
I
Jackson
gotta,
doing black and white. We had Aerosmith doing stuff with Run DMC. I mean, there was more about bringing people together than apart. Now there's
I
all this
gotta, yeah,
segregation.
I hear that often. I got a great answer for it. And that's a really good point where you've only seen this stuff over the last few years. My response to you would be this. Everybody because Steve Jobs is the one with the invention of the iPhone and things like that. I believe the reason racism is becoming more in the forefront, not because folks weren't complaining about it, it's because the people who are complaining are now getting a listening ear. Complaining about police brutality, for instance, which is awfully from a racial aspect. Black people have been complaining about police since the beginning of time. They were not getting a listening ear. Steve Jobs created the iPhone in 2007. Now, all of a sudden, these same folks that are complaining about the police can come into the station with an actual video of it. So now it's getting more attention. If you look at any black sitcom or black television show that has a predominantly black cast, I'm talking about going all the way as far back as the Jeffersons or freaking Sanford and Son, or every single black-oriented show has had at least one program dedicated to one of its cast members being mistreated by police. Even Family Matters, where the dad was an actual cop. So it's not that they haven't been complaining. It's just it's been falling on deaf ears. The same
It
thing with the statues. The same
It
thing with
could
the
be,
statues.
and I'll branch off of that in agreement. I think that what's also getting magnified more is smaller demographics of racist people. Which I'm not saying there's not racist people. That would not be true. There's racist people on both sides of the aisle, quite frankly. But what I believe is, if you sit down at the bar at your local tavern, all of us, everybody inside of this chat right now, we have more that we agree on when we actually have a conversation than we disagree
Yeah,
on.
that's
And
true.
I believe that media is magnifying so that they can divide us,
Here's why I disagree with that. I
magnifying
agree.
because
Hold on.
I have not met a admitted or vehement racist in my life. I have never met one. Doesn't mean they don't exist. I roll with mostly white people. I'm Italian. I'm Italian Irish. It doesn't mean I have black friends too,
I
but
believe that. I
but at
believe
the
that.
same time, I'm not saying they don't exist. I think that they're a
I
smaller
believe.
minority of the greater picture. That's all.
Okay, I partially agree. Appreciate that, Zoe. Thanks for the hat and mustache. Much love. I believe you have never met a white supremacist, even though you hang around predominantly white people. And the reason I say that is because folks who are racist, genuine racists, deny it. They don't. You don't see many people that come out and say, "Hi, my name is Tim. I'm a racist." Even the Klan will tell you we are not hating anybody. We're just for the promotion of the white race. Think about American history. Most of American history was racist toward black people. Now try to find a politician throughout that time that came out and publicly stated I hated black people. They all were denying it. Even separate but equal. They got theirs, we got ours. It's racist as hell. We know it is now. But if you had asked them in their time, I don't know why Martin Luther King were coming to these towns. Everybody was doing fine until he got here. I don't even know why slaves are complaining because they got free housing and clothing and
Yeah,
food.
that's
That's what
disgusting.
they
That's
have
disgusting.
said.
I
So
think what I
wait a
judge
minute.
people on. Oh, I'm
Let me
sorry.
complete it. And I'll give it
Yeah.
to you. But my point I was trying to make is you will never know a racist because the overwhelming majority of them do not admit they're racist, including Nick Fuentes. He doesn't believe he's a racist, but go ahead.
And I guess only thing I'll leave it with this, and I'll let you go. I believe most of my generation. Yeah, I was born in '77. I'm 45 years old. So like I grew up predominantly in the '80s, '90s, 2000s. Most of the people that I run with, we really have always viewed anybody, regardless of color. I judge you on character. If you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. Period.
That's
If
great.
you're a piece of shit, you don't take care of your family, you don't care of your responsibilities. I don't hate you, but I'm gonna just disassociate with you and do my thing. I got too much to worry about in my life, my mortgage, my kids. But I just try to keep my circle small. But at the same time, if I treat people and judge people on actions more than anything else, actions. I
So
don't care
what?
what
So
color
what
you are.
changed? What changed? Americans have had the same focus you're talking about on their personal issues since the beginning of time. Yet most of Americans' history has been racist. We've always agreed on more than we disagree on. Yet most of America's history has been racist. How did that happen?
Well, we came from the. I mean, what we don't focus on is how far we've actually come. And one thing that I actually had a conversation with a good friend of mine. He happens to be a lead singer for a really big band. He's a black dude. And what he told me, now he grew up in Atlanta. He goes, John, he goes, I traveled the whole country. I traveled the entire country. And this was so insightful to me. He said, you would think that the northern cities would be less racist because that's in the north. You know, you had Abraham Lincoln up here and things of that nature. And the South would be more racist. He goes, I'll be honest with you. I find more racism in the northern cities than the southern cities. And I'm like, well, why is that? He goes, I'll tell you why it is. Because my grandmother actually was a slave. His great grandmother was actually a slave. She's seen an incredible amount of racism. And so what she has taught him is listen, son, look how far we've come and we're continuing to progress. Don't let people continue to hold you down. This country is going in the right direction, but
I
we
agree
got
with
to
that.
stop focusing on the past and start bringing together and hearing each other. And if people are feeling left out or people are feeling like something's holding them down, then let's bring it to the table and let's have an honest, open discussion about it. But I think we need to focus on how good things have gotten. In a lot of ways, they've gotten a lot better for
Okay,
every American.
okay. So do you think Nick Fuentes, Trump should condemn meeting Nick Fuentes? Do you think he should speak out about that? If you're saying we need to move forward, do you think he needs to say something?
If I was Trump, I would definitely address it. That's me
Okay,
personally.
all right,
Based on my knowledge, I'd
all
say, hey,
right.
listen, I would explain my situation. I brought Kanye. He said Nick Fuentes. I knew he was a name. I didn't know what he was about. At least address the issue, because
How do you
it leaves
how do you
questions.
feel about Kanye said the other day that Jewish people should forgive Hitler? Now that's a friend of Trump's, according to you. How should Trump say anything about that?
I don't think because then he's going to have to go around and start justifying every single friend's comment. Like Kanye's got to stand on his own. He's got to be responsible for his own words. We can't
You
cluster
wouldn't have
everybody together.
to. All right, I
Uh,
got to move it on, man. I appreciate you coming through.
all right, take care.
Absolutely. Now, in regard back to the box, I won't talk as much, but he's right. If Trump addresses Kanye, then he's got to start explaining all this stuff. But my response would be, you wouldn't have to explain all this stuff if you wouldn't keep meeting with these people. When Trump had dinner with Kanye West, he had already said some pretty bad stuff. He just went further. You know, I've talked to Mago on my program many times on my little small corner of social media. By the way, all these lazy ass thumbs in a MAGA friendly room, all these patriots and liberals in here, I don't have 15,000 likes. What the hell is going on? Don't let your thumbs be lazy. Show your boys some love. We try to deliver good content here. So tap the screen, give me up to 15,000. Just being real with you. But yeah, if he didn't meet with these type of people, he wouldn't have to explain it over and over again. That's all I'm saying. If just imagine Obama or Biden having Farrakhan in the White House and not saying shit about it. You going to tell me the right would be okay with that? President Obama was hanging around with Jay-Z and the rapper Common, and folks was going off. Going off because he hung around Ludacris. But Nick Fuentes can come to Trump's house and he's not supposed to say anything about that? I just want to say, call a spade, no matter who's dealing the cards. You can't go after Obama for hanging around a rapper, but then sit there and exclude Nick Fuentes coming home to dinner and say, well, he came with Kanye, so he didn't know. All right, I mean, that would be like Obama saying, I never heard a record by Ludacris, so I didn't know. You're going to tell me the right would believe that? Going back to the box. Unapologetic black man program. Good afternoon, black man. Always a good talk. Trump is trash. Kanye, some of his words. Wow.
Jerry.
So, appreciate it. So, do you think that Biden made the right move freeing Brittney Griner?
Yeah, I just want to tell all the Republicans, 99.99, Brittney coming home. They're mad.
She's already at home now. She's already at home eating Gucci, I think. So,
Yeah.
so you do think he made the right move?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't care if it's political. Well, we know it's not political because this stuff happens all the time.
No.
I
I gotta disagree with you. That shit is political as hell. There's no way I'm gonna believe that that's not political. You gonna see Biden on TV with the Griner family constantly.
Every single trade and or deal that we make with adversary is political. Then every single one of them.
Oh yeah. They playing chess. Every politician, like I told the last caller, there's a reason why Trump isn't condemning Nick Fuentes. It's political. You don't want to upset that far right wing of your base. That's why Brittney Griner is at home. It helps out with blacks and LGBT.
I just mean that, like, let's not cherry pick this one little political stunt. Like, they both sides do it all the damn time. What I mean by manufactured fear is that, like the Merchant of Death. Like, nobody called him the Merchant of Death the day before yesterday. Like, stop it, people. Come on.
I don't know about that. I'd have to. I mean,
so you telling me that anytime on this? You telling me a month ago or 2 months ago, 3 months ago, people was calling this man the Merchant of Death on coming on your live like, "Hey, liberal, you heard about the Merchant?"
No.
That's what I mean. This is manufactured fear. Everybody knows the Merchant of Death. When his ass get back home, guess what? Criminals don't mess with people that just got out of jail. People, he could be a spy. He could be still wearing a damn bracelet. They're not gonna trust him. I don't know if people know the criminal world, but criminals don't mess with criminals that just got out of jail. People, he's not gonna go back into being the Merchant of Death. The Merchant of Death business is dead. This is just manufactured fear. That's why have you noticed that people on the right, they describe, like, people on the left say Brittney Greer is home. People on the right call her a black lesbian liberal that hates America. That's how they describe her. They manufacture fear in a day. Like, come on, people. And then once again, you haven't heard any Republican mention Wayland, but all of a sudden they want to say we should have got Wayland out. You mean the guy that has a dishonorable discharge?
Well, you mean the guy that my comeback on that is simple. If Trump was so great and had such beautiful ties with Putin, why didn't Trump get these guys out? They were incarcerated during his administration too.
My comeback is, say if he was active in the military, he got caught over there. Wouldn't that make him a spy? You think America's going to say, give us our spy back? No. When you sign up to be a spy, you get caught. You're on your own. That's like the first rule of being a spy.
Not necessarily. We do fight to get spies back. We've traded spies back and forth with Russia. You're working on behalf of the U.S. government. If they can get you back, they do try to negotiate to get you back.
Can you repeat what you just said? We trade spies all the time. That's why I said this is nothing new with Brittney Greer and this Merchant of Death they're talking about. We trade people all the time.
Yeah, but Brittney Griner is not a spy. She wasn't working on behalf of the country.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we trading citizens is not anything new.
True.
That's what I mean.
So how do you respond to folks suggesting, though, that you traded a basketball player for somebody who was literally selling arms and getting people killed? That the disparity is too great. How do you respond to that?
And like I said, you traded for an American. That's the only thing that should come out of people's mouths. We traded to get back an American, and we release again. Like I said, we release, as they say, the Merchant of Death back to criminals who are not going to deal with them, people. You think the Merchant of Death, do they think he's going to go to a clubhouse and they're going to be popping champagne and like the Merchant of Death is back? Like, He's been gone 13 years, people. All his connections are gone, people. Like,
Yeah,
there's
probably.
a
I
new
agree.
merchant of death.
Yeah, I do agree that the guy is probably not going to instantly get back in the lifestyle. I believe that, but when I say the disparities, I mean, let's say I went to Russia, had too much to drink, and ran somebody over with a DUI, and they traded. America fought to get me back, and they gave Russia back somebody who was going around, sexually assaulting women, that, climbing through their window, and he had like 50, 60 women that he took their virginity or whatever. You think you don't see the disparity in that?
No,
You're gonna
I
let me
see.
a D. You're gonna get me a DUI American back home and give them back a serial rapist. You don't see how there could be a disparity argument.
No, I can see what people can argue at, but if you don't look up or understand what the other country is offering. It's not a one-sided deal. It's not like America went to Russia and was like, "Give us Brittney, we'll give you him." No, it's called a
Right.
deal, people. That means that Russia said, "No, your whaling guy for espionage, his ass ain't on the table. Brittney's on the table. That's the only person on the damn table. If y'all don't want her, deal is off." Simple as
Yeah.
that, people. You have to understand that you don't. That's what a compromise is. That's what a deal is. That's what I mean by manufactured fear. You're trying to put in people's heads that, hey, you guys, this is just a miraculous deal that the liberals are pulling for votes, which again, it is. I mean, let's
So
be
who do
real.
you think? Who
But
do you think got the? Do you think it's equal, or who do you think got the better end of that deal? You think Russia did better in the deal than America? Or you think they both did okay equally?
no, we definitely came out of it better.
You think the
Again, we just
Americans did better by getting Griner back than the Russians
yeah,
getting this?
we just gave them like a used car dealer back. Like, come on, we gave. Do people under? I'm saying the criminal world. People don't understand when he left in 13 years. Do you guys not understand? 20, 30 more arms dealer became bigger and stronger than him. And again, you think that anybody is going to be like, the merchant of death is back. Let me get some guns from him because I'm loyal to. Come on, you guys. Nobody, criminals don't mess with people that just got out of jail. You're a snitch in our eyes. You're a damn rat.
All right, fair enough. I got to move it on, black man. You know how we
Oh,
do.
can I say one thing though?
Go ahead, wrap it
Because
up.
your last two callers, I felt like I got in a DeLorean, hit 88, jumped my ass back to 65. Man, one thing I can say is the Dems, there are a lot of Dems that have admitted that they made racist mistakes throughout their career.
Including Biden.
Yes, that's the only
Yeah.
thing I wanted to say. When people say politicians are all of them racist, no, they're not. There's plenty of politicians. Go look it up, people that admit and apologize. Like, yes, that was racist of me. Those were racist laws put forward. I apologize for them. And if you look at any of their votes starting, I think it was 2004 or 5, all their votes have changed when it comes to equity, equality for black people. If you don't care about that, then, like I said, I jumped in that DeLorean. Y'all asses are still back at 66, people.
All right,
Again,
I gotta
thanks, man.
go. All right, good talk, man. All right. In the comments, Democrats have progressed. Yeah, I agree with that as well. So you would let a serial killer out of jail, says Dimeback, and that's where I disagree a little bit with the last caller. I think there is a such thing as disparity, and I totally disagree that we got a better end of the deal than Putin. I definitely look at this deal like, here's my take on it. Because they changed the laws facing Brittney Griner to make it so she qualified for a harsher arrest, Brittney Griner shouldn't have been arrested at all. The merchant of death, this guy, whatever the hell his name is, he belonged in prison. So, in my opinion, Russia trumped up the charges on an American so that she qualified as a decent trading person. So yeah, I definitely believe Putin got the better end of that deal than Biden did for folks who, are on both sides of the aisle. Now, where I disagree is folks saying that Biden folded like a cheap suit. I saw somebody in the comments saying that, and Biden looks weak and things like that. The issue I have is this. I don't care how bad you think that Putin, got over on Biden in regards to this trade. Make no mistake about it. Simply due to President Biden being elected, there are literally over 100,000 dead Russian soldiers and a ton of destroyed Russian equipment because Biden is sending Ukraine constantly weapons and money and military shit. If you had Trump in office, that wouldn't be happening. Trump would have done one or two things. Either Putin would have never went into the Ukraine, which a lot of my beloved MAGA folks say all the time. So he either would not have went into the Ukraine, or he would have let Russia take over the Ukraine. Those are the two options Trump would have did. Either Putin would not have attacked, or he would have attacked and Trump would not have backed the Ukrainians. Either way, all of those dead Russian soldiers would be alive today if Trump was elected. But because of Biden, Trump has lost, or better yet, Putin has lost a hell of a lot of his service personnel. There's no denying that. Even talking to MAGA, they admit those two scenarios under Trump would have existed. Putin would have not invaded the Ukraine, or he would have invaded the Ukraine and Trump would not have assisted the Ukraine to any sort of level that Biden has. Meaning that all of these dead Russian soldiers would still be alive today. All of these destroyed Russian tanks and helicopters would still be operational today. Biden has a hell of a lot of Russian blood on his hands. So the idea that Putin is beating Biden just simply makes no sense at all. Biden has become Putin's worst nightmare. That doesn't make any sense at all. Going back to the box, though, it is Kenna's life. Kenna's life. Afternoon, and welcome to the program.
Man,
welcome
I've
back.
been waiting like 3 days to complain about this.
Give me your argument. Let me hear it.
First of all, Brittney Griner took a knee. That doesn't mean she hates America. That means she needs people. It's like when your child is acting out. Why is my child acting out? Something's wrong. When these people take a knee, they're begging for the attention. Something is wrong. Stop killing us. Stop the violence.
Well, my take on it is this. I don't give a shit if you're doing it because of police brutality, racism, or you just don't feel like standing that day. We're not North Korea. For folks on the right who talk about we're the land of the free, we don't engage in forced patriotism. If you don't want to stand, you have a right not to stand. It has nothing to do with hating America. I agree with that.
And when there's something wrong and these players or celebrities are taking a knee, that's when it's our turn to look and say, okay, what's going on? Why is this happening? Let's see if we can fix it. We failed that.
Yeah.
And this soldier has 3 other citizenships from England, Canada, and Ireland.
Is that true?
That's what Wikipedia says. I mean, you know.
I mean, but if it is, let's assume if that is true, then yeah, it's not just Biden's job to negotiate his release. I didn't know that.
He's Canadian born. And I looked at several different sources on it. It said that he was Canadian born. So he's
but if he has been putting his life on the line to spy on behalf of the United States, we do kind of owe him, though.
I do agree with that. But then you also just had the vote, was it this week, where like 160 Republicans voted against giving citizenship to people who served our military.
Always shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah, I mean, I
completely agree. If you serve our military and you died doing it and you got imprisoned and doing it, we should definitely come and get you. I totally agree with that. But the trick is, he's never on the table. Russia never said, hey, we'll give you this guy if you give us our guy. He was never on the table as a trade.
And that's the biggest argument, is that a lot of folks who are critical of Biden keeps making it sound like Biden made the wrong choice, like it was an either or, as if this guy was an option. And that's something that they don't entertain, is that it wasn't a choice between Griner and him. He wasn't on the table.
And Biden did bring Trevor Reed home.
Okay. So you see Biden is actually winning. You see Biden is getting the job done.
I think in that instance, in that situation, he didn't have a choice to bring him home. It was Griner or no one.
Yeah.
and he brought someone home. And that's what's important. I have traveled the world so many times over. I have been to Russia. I used to build playgrounds for orphanages outside of St.
Oh.
Petersburg. I
How was
mean,
it? Did you feel like you couldn't speak and couldn't do what you wanted to do over there?
it was the 90s and we were all brats. So we just kind of did what we wanted to and hoped we got away with it. I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
I've never been chased down by any other police, country's police. But I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was there on missionary work,
Right.
but I mean, you definitely see, maybe I have a different perspective because I've been to so many other places. But if you have a chance to bring someone home, and this soldier uh, has misuse of his social security number, trying to steal money. He was dishonorably discharged. So, as far as crimes go, Brittney Griner had a half full weed pen. Big deal.
Yeah.
He actually did crimes against America. So, who is against America? Who really is against
Yeah.
America? Was it Griner for screaming out for help for people to stop killing? Or
Yeah.
was it the soldier that knowingly misused?
So, but what about us sending back this guy who was supposedly a genuine bad guy? I mean, do you
I
see
don't
any
like
issue?
it.
Okay.
I mean,
So,
I
but you
get
would have
it.
sent him. You would have sent him back home in exchange for Griner.
That's a tough one. It really is because of his crimes and him going against America and trying to kill people. That's a scary thing. It really is to me.
Right.
And I agree. I don't. I think that I think that he'll eventually get back into it because if Putin realizes that he was able to do these things in the past, maybe he's willing to get back in the game now.
Yeah, but he'd have to realize if you get caught again, they might just straight execute you to prevent you from even being in jail. They may just take you to a black site and kill you and say you died on the battlefield. I mean, at this point, he'd have to be really bold after serving time in a foreign prison for 13 years to get right back in the game, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but who's to say he's not? I mean, look at what Russians
Yeah.
are doing now.
Yeah, but
They're
I
not.
don't know.
When we
In
say
my
those
opinion,
things, we
yeah, but
think. Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. No,
Well,
I'm
like,
just going to say, if I get caught overseas fighting on behalf of the United States, and I do 13 years in a foreign prison, when I come home, the last damn thing I want you doing is telling me I got another job for you. It should be over. I should be retired with honors, or it should be over. I should be living on a pension. The notion that you walking back in the room with more orders for me, are you fucking kidding me? You can court martial my ass. That's the way I believe, but maybe I'm wrong.
but that is also the way of our thinking. But you kind of got to put yourself in their shoes right now.
Yeah,
They're trying to take over the Ukraine. And if this guy has knowledge, if any of those people are still in play, he could be useful. Putin doesn't care. Putin doesn't care that you did all these things for him. Putin wants what you can do for him.
yeah. I mean, I could see that, but I don't know. 13 years. There are plenty of other people who have been receiving training the entire time this man has been incarcerated. You really want to go back to this guy who's in his 40s or 50s or however old? I mean, this relic. You got all types of young, fresh people out here that's been trained the whole time, and you're going back to him. You don't know what the Americans have done, performed all kinds of tricks on him, mental tricks. This guy could be compromised. That's the last guy to me you'd want to send back into the game. For all you know, America could have promised this guy something. If you go and operate as a double agent or something like that,
That would
find
be cool.
somebody else is the way I would look at it.
I agree, but I have a little bit of doubt that I mean a little bit that they'll say, oh, okay, well, you're back.
Yeah, I mean, and you're talking about Putin, who was head of the KGB, so he knows everything there is about spying and all of this, and flipping people and all of that. To me, that seemed like the last guy you'd want to pick to put back in the game. Now, if you want to have him maybe train people or something, I don't know, but I cannot see sending this guy back to his original life. I mean,
Right.
they know everything there is about him, from fingerprints to DNA and everything. You got to realize America has kept everything they can on this guy, probably even shit samples. So there's no way I'm gonna put this guy back into the game.
I can see that. Yeah. I can see that. But as far as like people being upset that he didn't bring the soldier home, he wasn't even on the table. And it just frustrates me that
True.
people don't do the research on things before they
Got it.
post, oh, Biden, no, impeachment. And you're like, well, he wasn't even on the table. And you got to look at the crimes, you know? He did a
Yeah, I
lot
would have
more
made
against
the
America than Brittney Griner ever did.
Yeah, I would have made the same deal, but I got to move it on, Jenna. Appreciate you coming
Have a
through.
good
Always a
day.
good time. You too, absolutely. Looking in the comments, I want from Bayou. Daddy, what did that say? Daddy D. Monroe made a statement. Biden is the most legislatively successful president in modern history, and even Newt Gingrich knows. I actually believe that. I actually do believe that, because even while he's dealing with the divisive environment we currently are in, and I'm not saying that Biden is not partially responsible for some of the division. Yeah, he's still finding ways to get things done, including that burn pit veteran protection act I just talked about. Yeah, he is still finding ways to get shit done. So, yeah, one of the most legislatively successful presidents in modern history. And it should be noted that he is the first president in his first term during the midterms to gain seats in the Senate since, I think, 1950 or something like that. So, you folks saying that Biden is destroying the country and shit like that, how is he winning so much? I mean, his midterm performance is historic at this point. So say what you want about the guy, but somehow, some way, he is not doing that bad. Since 1935, somebody said. Most crooked president. Really? More crooked than... I don't know. I could come up with a host of names, but you really think Biden is the most crooked president in history? No way. No way. I don't see that. Zachary, 1, 2, 3. Welcome. I think we've talked before, Zachary. Good afternoon. I did to you. What do you think, Zach? You think that Biden made the right decision bringing Griner home?
We talked already. We were the first one to talk. Huh?
Okay. I'm going to give you a couple minutes, man, because people are waiting in here. I'll give you a couple minutes.
I'll make it real quick. So I got to ask two things. Why do you, are you a Trump supporter? I got to ask.
I'm liberal.
How come you got to make America great hat then?
Because I respect MAGA's right to speak. I always have the hat in the program to let MAGA know this is your light in the middle of the night to understand. Even though I'm on the other side of the aisle, I will always entertain your right to speak. I understand the media is not always forthcoming, not always allowing MAGA to speak. You get censored, banned, and blocked. I don't think that's right. So I have the hat up to let folks know on my program, in my little small corner of social media, you can say what the hell you want without any fear of censorship or being banned here. That's what the hat is for.
It. And that's why we're in America, and that's what we need to start realizing, that we need to work together no matter what our beliefs are. No hatred, different beliefs, yes, but no hatred. So, real quick, when you said to the lady, I feel like he's out of the game and he doesn't really want to, be a part of that life anymore. Let's say, for shits and giggles, the American sniper didn't die.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say Russia captured him, or whoever captured him, because I know he had a bounty over his head for, I believe, $50,000. I think Iraqis wanted him. So let's say they captured him.
Okay.
And we had an opportunity to get him back. Now, he was probably one of the best. He's the best sniper that ever lived for us, and probably one of the best Navy SEALmen ever.
Okay.
What if we got him back? You're telling me we wouldn't put him back in the game if he really wanted to be back in the game? You know what I'm saying?
You're talking about Chris Kyle. You talking about Chris Cow? If Chris Cow, the American sniper, was in Russian custody or Iranian custody for 13 years, it depends on our political environment at the time, but I do believe there will be a lot of top brass saying, no, I don't want to put him back in the game. I mean, also, too, when you're doing a job like what Chris Cal is doing, age plays a part. Father Time catches up with you.
Oh, yeah.
13,
I agree.
13 years. 13 years out of the game without any training and things that's a long time.
It is. Yep. No, I agree.
That's
okay. Yeah. No, I just wanted to see your idea on that. That's all.
Yeah. So the point I'm making is there's no way I can say with absolute certainty that we know this guy is going to get back in the game after 13 years. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah. All right.
I got to move it on, though, man. Appreciate you coming back.
Gotcha.
Anytime. All right. In the comments, y'all forgot he's wanted by so many other countries. Well, in regards to this guy, what did they call him? The Merchant of Death. In my opinion, I believe the only reason this dude is wanted is because he don't work for us. You don't believe America has a hell of a lot of folks just like that? You never heard of Fast and Furious under the Obama administration? You never heard of the Iran-Contra scandal under Reagan? All of the shit going on with Noriega and all of that down in Central America? The Iran-Iraq war where we were giving weapons to both sides? Saddam Hussein claiming that his people we claimed that Saddam was killing his own people because we gave his people weapons to rise up against him. You've heard of the Arab Spring. You don't think that we fund coups, fund militia uprisings and things like that all over the world? That's exactly what this guy was incarcerated for. He was incarcerated for doing the same thing we do, just for the other side. The only reason this guy is in jail is because he's the opposition. It's because he's competition. We are the largest exporter of armaments. We do exactly what this guy does all over the world. There are U.S. westernized merchants of death operating on every battlefield around the world. Even when you look at what's going on with the Ukrainians and Russia. Us Americans, certainly on the liberal side, we believe that Ukraine has a right to fight back or a reason to protect their homeland. But make no mistake about it, Russia was in fear of a NATO country forming right on its border. The Ukraine was asking to become members of NATO. NATO is an enemy of Russia. Russia was trying to prevent NATO from becoming a border nation. How would we feel if Canada was trying to join the Soviet Union? We would be going in and attacking the Canadians. And then you got Russia supplying the Canadians with weapons to help beat U.S. soldiers. That's exactly what's currently happening in that theater right now in reverse. Is that you had a NATO member country in the Ukraine forming on Russia's border. Russia was trying to stop that shit. And now the Americans are helping Ukrainians fight off Russia. We're doing merchant of death shit. But we think it's right. That's the only difference. We're doing the same thing. We just think it's right when we do it, and it's wrong when they do it. Go back to the box. It is NC Blue Dots. Certainly end of the program. Haven't talked in a while. Good to have you back. What's going on, girl?
Hey, friend. I love this conversation that you're having. And I want to just preface it by saying, foreign relations and geopolitical policy is incredibly convoluted and complicated. And so we don't know the detail of this negotiation. We don't know. A lot of that's classified, right? So for us to say, well, we would do this and we would do that, I think we need to really think, well, we don't know really what was at that table. We don't know the classified information that was shared. So I think we probably should think that when we're thinking about whether she was a good trade or not. But one thing that came to mind while I was listening to all your callers, I've been listening for about 45 minutes. And what I really...
Do you think Biden made the right decision before you get into that?
I do, and I'll tell you why. Because she's an American, and the reason she was imprisoned was bullshit. They inflated charges on her. And the thing that I'm afraid of is that this is going to give other countries fortitude to capture American celebrities or American citizens as a way to negotiate with America for things that they want. That's the only
Well,
thing I'm afraid of.
but wait a minute. I could see that maybe happening from Russia or maybe China, but some of these other smaller countries, if they do something like that, they could literally be risk getting bombed.
Right.
If you one of the smaller countries, that shit ain't gonna work. That ain't safe to do that.
I just don't, right. You're right. And I just don't, I mean, we don't know what other countries, larger or not, China, would they take a celebrity and then it be a problem. But I also have a problem with Republicans using their moral superiority to determine who's valuable to freedom. Like, she shouldn't deserve freedom because she hates America.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
who gives you the right to say that this person's more valuable than someone else? You know what I mean? Like, I just have a problem with that.
Well, I have a problem with it from the simple standpoint of it's a promotion of forced patriotism. Anybody who believes you should
Right.
absolutely stand for the anthem, otherwise your country shouldn't look out for you, you're promoting forced patriotism. When the anthem plays, like over in Kim Jong-un, where you got to do all this, or with Hitler, no, if you're talking about we live in a free country, then you're free to take a knee or you're free to have a seat.
The
Otherwise, you're not free.
The First Amendment applies to everyone, regardless if you agree with why they're exercising their First Amendment. And I think that's what
Right.
makes our country so wonderful is, like, if you want to kneel for the national anthem in protest of police brutality, that is your right. And whether you agree with the reasoning is it shouldn't matter at the end of the day. That's just my opinion.
So how do you respond to folks who suggest that I'm fine with you protesting police brutality, just taking the knee to the anthem is not the right way to do it?
Well, then don't kneel for the anthem if you don't feel like it's patriotic to do that. I just have a problem being in a country that determines your love of your country based on whether you salute a flag. Like, it's to me, that seems
Yeah.
like communism.
Yeah, it's forced patriotism. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah, you should not. Yeah, that's if you love your country, you pay taxes, you help out your fellow man and things. You can do a hell of a lot to show love for the country. That doesn't. I mean, you got people who are not even from this country have done things for the country. So yeah, I don't know. Taking the knee versus standing, that has nothing to do with love, in my opinion.
And also, like, I love America so much that I want to make it better. I want to do what I can to learn about the history of our country, to understand other people's experiences living in this country, and do what I can to help bring equity. Like, I think that that's what America is about, this experiment that we're all a part of at the end of the day. But yeah.
100% agree. All right, girl. Good to hear from you again.
See you later.
Come on back. Absolutely. All right. Real quick. Thank you, my sister. We all need to be like this. I want to definitely enjoyed the conversation there. Paul Whelan is a Canadian who served and was dishonorably discharged. Yeah, I'm seeing that come up more and more. But for folks who keep saying that Biden should have went for the veteran, I give this same statement on all the broadcasts. And tap the screen, get your boy up to 30,000 likes. I appreciate the fact you guys are rolling with me. I've said this many times, is that, when it comes to whether he chose one or the other, you're going to hear this phrase. Here's a phrase I'll give you that you would certainly have heard. I told you Biden is a racist. Here he was with a chance to bring home a black girl for y'all, and he didn't even do that shit. That's proof that the guy's a racist. Trump 2024. That's what would have happened from a lot of folks on the right if Biden had a chance to bring home Brittney Griner and did not do it. Is that folks would have suggested that by him not doing it, it shows he's not all of that keen on black people. Same thing happened when President Obama was in office. You hear folks now saying, well, what did he do for black people? He didn't do nothing for you guys. Knowing damn well that if Trump, can't even say their names right, knowing damn well that while Obama was in office, if he had to start passing legislation and policies to make Chicago better, make things better for black people, the first thing these same folks would have said, we didn't elect a black president to be president of Chicago. We didn't elect you to be president of black people. We elected you to be president of all America. But the minute he don't help them, Then you blame them for not helping. That's the same thing that President Biden was facing with Brittney Griner. You either do or you don't. They're going to find a way to criticize you. If Biden had to continue pushing to get the veterans released and left Brittney Griner incarcerated, you think you're going to see him being congratulated on Fox News? Think Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson are going to be saying he made the right decision, yay, giving him credit for it? No. They're going to say he took too long to do it in the first place. So, at the end of the day, you can pander to the people who don't support you, or you can pander to the people who do. It's political, folks. Say what you want about it, but it's political. There's a reason why Trump doesn't condemn certain people. It energizes his base. Biden did the same thing. He scored points with the LGBT community and black folks. That's how politics works. Call it what you want. Going back to the box. My name is Kitten. Into the program. Good afternoon. Welcome back, Kitten. Now, real quick, Putin just showed the world how weak we are and we are willing to do in the middle of wokeness. Hang on a second, Kitten. Lightly said that Putin just showed weak tanks and helicopters that are all over the battlefield in Ukraine because of American weapons. Have you not seen all of the video footage of dead Russian soldiers because of Americans? Biden does not look weak on the world stage. He has shown the world that Putin and Russia are paper tigers militarily. You really think this one little trade erases all those dead Russian soldiers? Really? Kidding. Good afternoon.
Going on, the handsome liberal? How are you, man?
I'm doing good. I'm in the trenches as always, man. Biden is
Hey, bless
weak.
you for that live earlier, man. I saw you on that guy live earlier, man. Bless you for putting up with that bullshit, man.
I like talking to MAGA. He suggested that Trump's 2024 campaign is actually, the energy behind Trump's 2024 campaign is actually much stronger than the energy behind Trump's 2016 and 2020 campaign. And I thought the 2024 Trump is not as strong.
You had a great point, man, because the midterms show that his support is not as strong. We have numbers and data, and of course, MAGA doesn't care about numbers and data. So you were talking to a brick, man. You're talking to a brick. You know what I mean? They don't care about data, facts, or numbers. You're talking to a brick.
Well, but you got to understand, we're in a climate where folks believe any Democratic victory was due to cheating.
Sure. Yeah, you're right. And I do want to touch on this whole Brittney Whalen thing. First of all, Whalen was discharged from the Marines in 2008 for larceny. He is not a Marine. He's a traitor to his Marine brothers and sisters. Okay, when you are dishonorably discharged on bad conduct, you are no longer a Marine. In order to hold that title, you need to serve honorably. And he did not. So I don't want to hear another Republican say, he's a Marine. He's a Marine. No. He's a traitor to his Marine brothers and sisters, and you like that because you back traitors all the time, right?
Let me give you something I heard from a veteran on the program yesterday.
I'm a veteran.
They appreciate your service. Good on you. The individual suggested that because this guy was a spy, him being dishonorably discharged might have been his cover because you can't be a decorated veteran going. I mean, the country going to let you in. So if he can be listed as dishonorably discharged, that may have given him leeway to get into the environment. I had a veteran.
What I would recommend to you is this. They already have an interview with his brother online. His brother says that he was doing no spying, and those charges are most likely trumped up by Russia, just like those bullshit charges on the poor girl that just got released, right? Mm-hmm. He was not spying. He just got trumped up charges put on him for being an American. And that's what happened. His brother has an interview online right now.
I don't get why Americans continue going over to that country. I don't understand that.
Well, why would you go into a country that we're in a proxy war with is a good question. I don't know.
I understand a little bit from Griner's standpoint because she was getting paid so much. Yeah. But even still, it make that's a huge risk you're taking to go into a country that we have such poor relations. Just like China, there's a lot of money to be made because we have a trade imbalance. We got call centers and things like that. But you have to realize that at any given time they can make up some shit and keep you there. So you got a lot of American businessmen that are going back and forth to China But at any given time, if they don't like something you did, you might just be on Pornhub watching a few red hits and cream pies, if you know what I mean. And they may
And
say that.
yeah, no, I hear you, man. Yeah, yeah, I love it. A good cream pie is always good, my friend.
I'll take. I'll take.
But and the thing is, man, is I remember just a few months ago when Trump was still in office, all the praise that Russia was getting from Republicans. Putin's a strongly. You guys love Russia. You guys
Yeah.
love them. You know what? You guys love Russia, okay? And I even heard someone the other day that said Trump brought peace to North Korea. They're doing the same shit that they did before he got there. It's just now they have footage of an American president dining with their leader that they can gaslight their people with.
I would also bring up the fact that Trump made a supposed peace deal with a hell of a lot of Taliban and released them from custody as well. And just like this guy you're claiming is going to go back into selling arms, all of those Taliban are back over there abusing women and doing all of that shit. So, I mean,
Hey,
if you
man,
want to talk about letting somebody go that's turned out to be a criminal, you got to point out the peace deal Trump did with the Taliban. It's turned out to be horrible. Same thing with Kim Jong-un. He made some type of agreement with Kim Jong-un. That guy hasn't followed any of that shit.
oh yeah, and man, I mean, it's so crazy. Their hypocrisy is endless, my man. And you've been talking about pandering. All politicians pander to their base. It's only a problem if they pander to you and don't make good on the pandering, folks. You're not going to get elected if you don't pander. So I don't want to hear you go, oh, they pander, they pander. Everyone panders. You people are so ridiculous, man.
Real quick in the comments, True Patriot, I like the name. You're saying no, North Korea is doing what they do now because Trump is not the president. Then they didn't honor their peace deal. You don't make a deal with another adversary that is only contingent on you being president. You only have
You know who that makes look weak? Trump.
Exactly. When Trump went to North Korea, the max he could do was another 6 or 7 years in office. I mean, you don't make deals based on one guy remaining in office unless he plans on being a dictator. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Again, this is where we are at, my man. This is why I do not want, they keep on talking about being united. Your last caller was with the United. I don't want to be united with these people. They are ridiculous people. I don't want them.
Well,
I don't want them.
We talked about that. I think that's divisive, but I'll let you have that one. You got to make.
I don't want them.
That's why I enjoy talking to the other side. We do have to be able to reach out. You can't have everybody draw a line in the sand and say, you stay on your side, I stay on mine.
Happened before.
I understand your mindset, but I'm not a fan of that.
I hear you. I understand. And I'll say one last thing here. If you are saying that they should not have brought her home, and you are against bringing a fellow countryman home from a Russian gulag, you are not a patriot. You're not a patriot. You're a fake patriot. You're fake.
I'll leave it on that.
American.
I'll let
Later,
you roll.
brother.
Good talk, man. Good talk. Comments, I see a lot of folks agree with this as facts. Conservatives are too hypocritical. And I will tell you this, if Trump did the exact same thing, you're going to tell me the right would be going off on Trump? If he came out and explained it at a rally that, we're going to still work and get this veteran home, but right now I had a sure shot at getting Griner home. I brought her home and explain that this guy has been out of the arms business for 13 plus years. You're going to tell me the right would say he's a fool? Putin looks stronger. No, you would come up with a reason why what Trump did, maybe it wasn't that bad. So some of this is bias and hypocrisy. And I will be fair about it and suggest that if Trump did this and we were sitting back watching it, we wouldn't give him the proper praise. This is how politics works, folks. It's not about always doing what's right and doing what's wrong. Sometimes it's simply wearing the jersey for your team and backing up what your team does no matter what it is. Not trying to defend it at all, just simply explaining it and saying that's how it works. Look at some of the shit Trump did with Kim Jong-un. You think that if Obama brought Kim Jong-un to the White House and gave the same statements Trump did, folks on the right would be like, yeah, I understand. He's trying to make peace. No, get the hell up out of here. That's how politics works. Trump couldn't do anything right in the eyes of the media, says, I can't pronounce the name, but you're right. Libtard, I guess that's saying, I don't know. But in regards to Trump not being able to do anything right, I don't disagree with that. Certainly when when you're constantly criticizing the media and saying all kinds of negative things, they're not going to give you credit. And Trump came into office day one saying all kinds of nasty stuff about the media. But at the same time, there was a Republican that said his only goal was to make Obama a one-term president. So it's not like Trump went through some shit that other folks did not, up to and including suggesting that he was born in Kenya, which Trump was a huge part of doing. So Trump didn't get always treated fair, but he engaged in the same behavior on his predecessor, meaning Obama. And do you think that Trump has given Biden a chance from day one? The day Biden was elected, Trump has been all over him. So if Trump gets back in office in 2024, you really think that people are going to give him a chance from day one based on how he's been acting? What do folks say? Act how you want to be treated? Do unto others? Looking in the comments, dude, impeachment. There are folks on the right suggesting that they're going to try to impeach Biden. Very similar to what happened with Trump. It's not going to go anywhere. I believe that Trump has done a really good job in showing how to delay and prevent any type of cases or action against you from happening. Biden can delay shit for years. I mean, same thing with the Hunter Biden stuff. All you got to do is plead the fifth. I mean, didn't Trump plead the fifth like 400 plus times? Any investigation against Biden, what happens if he pleads the fifth hundreds of times? You don't think the same outcome is going to happen? He obviously has control of the Senate. So whatever you think that happened on Trump, expect that to happen on Biden. Now, that's not to say that maybe there's not some real fire there, that something that Biden may deserve to be held accountable for. The only point I'm trying to make is Trump has shown you can delay courts for a long, long time. Tell folks don't answer subpoenas. Tell folks to plead the fifth. Do exactly what Trump's playbook told you to do. That'll keep Biden out of the spotlight or keep Biden from dealing with anything probably for at least a half a decade. And the guy is about to turn 80. So shout out to Trump for showing us how it could be done. Look, folks, I am on lunch break. I do got to terminate the live, unfortunately. I appreciate the fact you guys are rolling with your boy. You could be anywhere you want on TikTok. The fact that you're here with me is always an honor. This is a MAGA-friendly program. I say on every broadcast, I do not ban, censor, or block anyone for their damn commentary. Catch me tonight at 7. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I got to go.